right. Hey, everyone. Oh, happy Sunday, and welcome to the Preacher After Show. We are back, and we missed you. But welcome to the Preacher After Show here at the Stream.tv. I'm your host, Jocelyn Polite, and to break it all down with me tonight are my co-hosts, my wonderful co-host, and starting over here to my right.
Hey everybody, I'm Timothy Michael. Tweet at us using the hashtag Preacher After Show. Also follow us on Facebook at Preacher Fan Group. Also on Twitter at Preacher Fan Show. And over to my right.
Hello everyone, my name is Kiyra Lynn and I am on the YouTube chat, so feel free, shoot any questions. We are live and maybe we'll talk about you on the show.
All right. Okay, so tonight we're going to do something a little different because I know you're probably used to the way that we do things with one episode and we kind of go through that. But we're going to recap 2 episodes tonight, episode 6 and episode 7. So we're going to start with 6 and then we're going to move into 7. But you know how we are, we may they may swoop and swallow and swally. So it's all good.
It's a lot of info, you guys.
It's a lot of info,
just stick with
but it'll
us.
be fun. Okay, so we're going to jump right in and we're going to start off with episode 6, okay?
Ooh.
And Jesse and has Genesis, we know, and he will not give it back.
No.
He's not going to give it back. He loves this power. And is this tampering with free will?
I think it is, and to jump to the end of the episode when Eugene is talking to Jesse, and he's basically saying, people need to have a choice in the matter. And Jesse, oh man, he was just such an ass.
Yeah.
He was such an ass in this episode, but I agree. Yes, I think you need to have free will, and Jesse's not doing it.
Well, Jesse has it now, so isn't it his free will whether he wants to give it back or not?
Well, I think that kind of power, the reason why it's such an amazing power, and the reason why it's so powerful is because, that's why us as human beings don't have a power like that, because we would misuse it, and we're given free will. We're given a chance to make choices, and whatever you believe and whatever your religion is, I think, whoever your God is, you believe that someone presides over you, but you also believe that you're able to make the smaller decisions, you know what I mean? And if you believe there's a blueprint for your life. I mean, I know it gets really complicated, but I just feel like the whole free will, for him, he was not successful in areas of his life.
Yeah.
And he decided, hey, you know what? My church isn't working. This part of my life isn't working, that part of my life isn't working. I'm going to use this now, this power that I have, to make people do what I want them to do.
And wasn't it this episode where Jesse basically says, God gave me this power and God doesn't make mistakes?
Yes.
And Cassidy was like, oh, well,
Right.
people make mistakes. And man.
I mean, it's amazing. But Kiyra, I know you want to talk about the amazing opener last episode.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I even tweeted out, or I was on Facebook or something, and I was like, this was like the best 12 minutes of TV ever. I mean, it just went in, and I couldn't keep up with who was dying and who was reincarnating and I couldn't even figure it out. It was amazing.
All of the body pileups. I mean, it was phenomenal. Like everybody, if you guys don't know me by now, I love gore, and to just see like the shooting and the blood and then how it just pulled out and saw it through the gun hole. It was just an amazing.
I think what I loved was that there were so many bodies of Fior and LeBlanc and then the Seraphim girl, but Jesse didn't get killed once.
Yeah, not at all.
That was so interesting. There's 1,500 bodies in that room, and Jesse didn't get killed once.
Well, here's even crazier than that. Remember when Cassidy came in to take care of the situation and pretty much save Jesse? So he shoots Seraphim lady, and then she doesn't reincarnate. That was the end of it. So I was like, well, wait a second. Wouldn't she just pop up again?
No, well, they had to move on.
Well, you're right. You got to move on. We'd be there all day, right?
Right.
And speaking of moving on, so so his position.
Well, she did come back, and then remember they what's his face knocked her out, and then Fior took her into the bathroom, and then what was that word that he used? Disarticulated her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he chopped her up. So that's how they don't come back.
Oh, because I thought if they weren't dead, but they were somehow restrained or something, then they can't come back. Well, if they have to be dead,
they can't come back.
Right.
But I guess if you chop them up or something, they don't come back.
In little pieces. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was her.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll send another. But his position as a preacher, we're now seeing, is a lot different. I mean, he started off kind of meek and mild and sweet. and he is becoming mean, and and this power has done something to him, as power does in a person. It plays upon that part of you that you feel inevitable, and you feel as though everyone needs to succumb to you.
Well, with power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and he's not doing very well with that.
No.
Okay, well, let's move to Cassidy. Because one of the things I thought was interesting in episode 6 was Cassidy and Jesse, because their friendship is really interesting to me anyway, because they're just such an unlikely friend.
Yeah.
There's such an unlikely friendship there. But Cassidy, he doesn't seem to be handling Jesse having this power very well. And then on top of that, he now kind of is crushing on Tulip. And it's like, you know how a man feels when another man not only has the power, but has the girl too?
Right.
It's like, what's Cassidy gonna do?
There was a point where I think Cassidy was, he was having a conversation with Jesse in terms of the power, and you're right. He was just, I felt that this is, Cassidy was really human at this point. Not to say that obviously he's a vampire,
Right.
but you kind of see his humanity, and that's not something that you necessarily expect in a vampire. And he has a conscience. So I like the turn that the Cassidy character is actually taking obviously we're now episode 6 that we've been able to see, but he's not your typical vampire, and we know that he finally tells everybody that he is a vampire, or Jesse that he is a vampire.
Well, here's my thing with Cassidy, especially in episode 6. I felt like he's really battling, because he keeps calling Jesse his best friend. And, to be somebody's best friend entitles a lot more than you just knowing them for, a month.
Right.
And I feel like that whole saying that guys have bros before hoes really comes into play here, because it's like, okay, well, you knew Jesse before you met Tulip, but now he likes Tulip because of her personality.
Who wouldn't like Tulip?
I mean, I love Tulip.
Sexy.
I mean,
She's, you know what I mean?
I know. But it's like, I feel like Cassidy's really battling with something here, because he really feels for Tulip. Because if you think about it, Tulip really understands who he is and accepts him for that. And I'm sure he's never found that. But then at the same time, Jesse's here, and for whatever reason, he feels like a kinship toward him.
Yeah, he does. No, he does. And I mean, and again, Tulip is twisted and has her own issues.
But so is Jesse.
And so is Cassidy.
And so is Cassidy.
It's like the dysfunction has found a dysfunction, and there's an attraction with that. You know what I mean?
It's a whole weird love triangle.
It is.
Yes.
And then add Emily to the mix, and that's just
a whole other
love square at that
Yeah.
point.
Oh gosh, Emily. Okay, well, the mayor. Now, he surprised me. I know that we know what happened with Kincannon, which I can never say, but you guys will forgive me. But Kincannon, when he took out everybody in his office, except the mayor, and the mayor was
Can we
left.
move? I love
what
how
I'm
you said
glad
that
over
so
that? Okay.
nonchalantly. He took everybody out in his office.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, took everyone out after he went to church.
Yes.
So that's another thing that's out. He went to church
And he obviously wasn't converted.
not at all. Didn't
No.
work. So he takes everyone out, and then the mayor is left to clean this up, which means that he's in a position with that title and that position in town. He's in a position to have to lie. Which we saw that he lied.
He goes
He's
to
not a
Jesse.
good liar.
He
either.
buried the bones.
Well, he went to Jesse, and he was basically asking, what is it? I'm in a situation, and obviously that's the situation he was talking about, and he didn't necessarily know what to do. And that's the point where you're like, well, where's this mayor going to go? Is he going to do the right thing? And obviously he doesn't. But, he just put on another pair of khakis and went on. But I thought that was very interesting, because now we can see, how the entire town of Anvil is they're completely off their rocker, including the mayor.
They're all too close together. I mean,
Yes.
when you think about that.
And you know what really bothers me about religion and pastors in general is that, the mayor went to him for help.
Yeah.
And he felt like he couldn't tell Jesse the entire story because he was afraid that Jesse would judge him in some kind of way. And that led to him making a more worse decision.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
And that happened in this episode as well.
Right.
When Eugene was trying to ask for help, and then that led him into, because Jesse, I feel like Jesse's coming out to be more and more judgmental.
I was gonna say
He has no right to judge.
Well, here's the thing that I was gonna say about Jesse too is that as a preacher, and someone is coming to you about something, Jesse kind of has these one-liner solutions that don't really resonate with that person.
Yes.
And so a one-liner, I don't need you to give me a one-liner. I need you to explain to me, like, why am I feeling this way? What's going on with me? Pull me in some type of way. But he's not doing
remember
that.
Jesse wasn't a very good preacher to begin with.
He's not a very good preacher.
He wasn't a very good preacher to begin with, and then he gets this power, and then all of a sudden, he's had it maybe a week. He's all of a sudden on his high horse within a week.
But that's my problem with religion is that people use it to have this holier than thou attitude, and it just frustrates the hell out of me.
No, it does.
Well,
he's not good at it, and we saw that with this mayor and with everything that's going on. But I agree. I mean, this power's taking him to negative places, and we saw that with Eugene, who came to him in the church, and again to seek advice and talk about the whole forgiveness thing, with him and everything, because Eugene was having a better time in life. I mean, he made some friends. I mean, I was scared these boys were going to take him out. I was like, they're going to take him down there and they're going to do something to him. And they actually did fireworks.
Happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
they liked him. He was being accepted. I mean, and that's a powerful, I don't know whether is it an emotion? I mean, that's a powerful feeling,
especially
acceptance.
in high school.
Exactly. Exactly. So he got that, especially looking the way that he does, ass face. And
especially doing what he did.
Well, let me correct that, because some people correct us arse face.
Arse face.
But he made some friends, and he started kind of making some leeway, and I think for him it was a step. So then he, of course you go to your preacher and you say, okay, this is what's going on with me, and he feels close to him. And that damn Jesse.
And you know what? Before we even get to that, not only did he find acceptance from his friends, but he was also coming to accept what he had done, and he was coming to terms with it, which is why he went to Jesse, and which is why I think he went to Jesse and said, you know what, I appreciate what you did with Mrs. Loach, but I don't want you to have her forgive me like that. I think he wanted to earn it, and I felt like that's where he was at, and then that, Jesse didn't want to hear it.
I love that we didn't know what he was talking about at that point, because now that we've seen episode 7, we know what he was talking about. But during episode 6, we didn't know what he was talking about. So he was there, talking about this forgiveness and everything. Go ahead, Kiyra, you're burning up with it.
No, but this was the thing. I was a little, I don't know, and maybe you guys can clear this up, and maybe you guys can clear this up to me or for me in the YouTube chat. When he was actually approaching Jesse, and saying, I didn't like what you did with Mrs. Loach. Did Eugene actually have an understanding of Jesse's power?
Yes, because because Eugene was calling him out on it. Eugene was like, this isn't of God. I think that's what he said.
That's what he said.
And then that's
you can't make people.
Exactly, and then that's why Jesse got upset and then sent him to hell.
Okay.
Because whenever someone doesn't agree with Jesse, he gets upset automatically, and that's the thing. It's like
because he's a human and he shouldn't have this power.
Yeah, but a preacher that's a human still doesn't need to act like that. You know what I mean?
Given to him
it's
by
like
God.
He was the wrong person to give it to. Oh my God, I'm getting
But
upset.
he didn't explode.
Me too.
He didn't explode.
Well, he needed to explode. Okay.
You know what? No, I'm actually glad that you bring that up, because he didn't explode. So there must be something in him that Genesis finds, hospitable.
Makes him worthy.
He was ordained online, huh? I'm just saying.
1-900
something.
www.makemeapreacher.com.
Okay, well, we finished with episode 6, and we're going to move on to episode 7. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back and dive right into tonight's episode. All right? So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Be right back, guys.
In case you missed it live. In case you missed it live. In case you missed it live.
How did we not figure that out?
High five.
Boom.
Just to let you know. We had a crazy vampire threesome.
And you can't unsee that. That's burned into my brain now.
I was like, woo, woo. You know why we saying yes. You know why we saying yes. Look at me, I'm dancing.
He was like, yeah, I'll tell you whatever you want.
He is, wait, so something.
And we're like, ooh, inseparable.
These hoes ain't loyal.
You just went to a totally different direction on that one.
I love it. That's genius.
We're funny.
Billionaire goes broke, it means he's got like $4 million.
There's got to be a code on that.
This might actually be a thing.
Somebody better take some pictures of this.
What did I do? What is there?
Are we there yet? Can we talk about this?
We've been waiting all night.
I don't like to break nails.
You can't count anything out.
It's been another awesome night at the Stream.tv, guys.
Thank you for joining us, you guys.
I know, I do. Hey, you guys, welcome back. Remember, all your favorite after shows are right here at the Stream.tv. Of course, this is your favorite.
Yes, it is.
And so make sure that you subscribe to the Stream.tv and hit like. All right, so we're going to move on to episode 7.
Yes.
That was tonight's episode,
Yes.
which was such a good episode. I like this one.
And I love that they always pick up where they leave off
Yeah, they
with the
do.
last episode. So it makes our job a little easier.
It
I love
does.
that.
They don't go into a whole nother scene where you have to figure it out. They actually
or
just
it's like
pick
a week
right
later,
up. Oh,
or
no.
like 2 weeks before.
No,
Like,
not at
yeah.
all. They're following it day by day. Okay, so we have Cassidy and Jesse, which their relationship is so amazing. I love their relationship. It's so amazing to me because it's dipping and diving. They like each other, but then there's some like love-hate, and then there's kind of like we're bros, but then it's like I kind of don't trust you, but then I want to. They're going in all kind of different directions,
What
and I love it.
about Cassidy, and this even goes back to episode 6, is Cassidy is not afraid to call Jesse out on his
You know what?
I love
You know
that.
what's funny is I wrote down. I said that Cassidy is Jesse's checks and balances because when Jesse is out of control, and it was funny that I just wrote that down, but I just thought about it because I was like, Cassidy is the one that calls him on his shit all the time, and I love that.
Well, because I think him being a preacher, people think he's at a position of status, so there isn't technically anybody that really checks him, but he's got Cassidy.
Exactly. Well, Cassidy and Tulip and the secrets. There's a lot of Cassidy and Tulip. We know that they hooked up. Boy, did they hook up!
Love. What
They
you talking
had
about, girl?
they had
They
an
made
old school
love.
backseat car hookup that we all saw. But their relationship, and Cassidy understanding Tulip, which I feel like he's in love with her.
Which,
he said he made love to her, which was funny because Tulip was like, "No, he didn't."
And this brings me back to what I had said before the commercial break, and it's Tulip. I feel like I don't think Cassidy has ever had somebody who really knows who and what he is and
Right.
accepts him for that. But it's that whole battle again. It's like, he's Jesse's best friend. It turns into a soap opera, you guys.
It is a soap opera.
It's a telenovela.
Exactly. It's like that's his best friend's girl, and he's
Right.
got a tattoo of her.
Yeah.
It goes a lot. And even in this episode, this goes a lot deeper. Jesse and Tulip's relationship
Oh,
because
yes.
this goes back to when they were kids, and Cassidy just comes in, and he's got this weird connection to Tulip, and he's got this weird connection to Jesse, and I'm just.
Well, he's really questioning why Tulip is being so loyal to Jesse. That's his main thing. Because I don't think that Cassidy's ever experienced that type of loyalty, like you were saying. And so he's really, like, why? Okay, why are you still in this? Why are you still in this?
It makes me wonder whether or not Cassidy has ever even experienced real friendship, especially if he's like so quick to call Jesse his best friend.
Well, let's keep in mind also that he's been on the run most of his for a while now from these religious crazy who they haven't brought up in a while now.
What's up with him and his situation? Right?
So I'm sure that you have a point. Like I'm sure he's never had real friends because he's always been on the run.
But so far, I take him as a friend because he seems pretty loyal and he seems pretty down for you.
Yes,
so far.
he is definitely a friend. But then it was kind of like, how did he fall in love with Tulip so quickly? Because I only say,
Because
well,
she's
I know.
dysfunctional.
No, thank
she's
you.
crazy.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, but then it was like, when she pushed him out of the window, and he was bleeding in the backseat of the car, and he was like, "Kiss me." And I think, there's like, so I think that's at that point where it kind of happened.
Girl,
I mean, if he's looking for some crazy women, I know two right here that are there.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, now Cassidy also, off of Tulip onto Eugene, him and Jesse had a whole big thing, a huge thing, where, we know that Cassidy ended up in flames over this Eugene situation because Cassidy witnessed Jesse damning Eugene to hell. So, with the whole, like, what is this with Cassidy that this checks and balances thing where he really does feel like he has to defend everybody against what Jesse's doing?
Well, that was a whole big kind of like argument between them. It was a pretty deep argument if you think about it, because Cassidy was once again calling him out on his stuff and saying what gives you the right to judge somebody? And you know, Jesse had his little spiel about what gives him the right, and Cassidy was like, no. And then it goes back to, you know, Tulip and Cassidy's conversation about how, you know, she was like, well, did you tell him who you really are yet? Aren't you afraid that he's going to judge you? Because I know him better than you. And then that's what makes him say, you know, Tulip was right about you. And then he goes into showing Jesse what he is, which would be traumatizing to me.
It would be traumatizing to me for there to be somebody who knows that I just did some serious dirt,
But are you
and they're around me all the time.
But are you afraid that Jesse's not going to be Cassidy's friend anymore? Because
he's got something on him. That friendship is no longer be a pure friendship. He's got something on him.
But isn't that what makes a friendship? Is when you know everything about that person and you accept them for who you are. That's a best friendship.
But if I hid a bone from somebody's body and it's me and you and we're friends and I went and I told you, you know, I mean, or you know that I did something to hurt someone and I buried it, it compromises our friendship because it's something that you disagree with.
But we also have to look in the realm of this, okay? Because now we are talking about angels, demons, vampires,
heaven, hell, right?
And for me, it's kind of like, is it sort of like is it Jesse's belief in Christianity and belief in the faith that he disregards Cassidy as a vampire? Because, you know, Jesse's already been in a room like with people dying and bodies piling up.
Right.
What's the big deal about a freaking vampire?
Right.
You know, and at this point, is a vampire in this world? I mean, is it the same sort of vampire that we find in other worlds? Like,
but I mean, that.
No, you make a good point though, because if I saw someone die and come back to life, that what difference is that from somebody who tells me?
Right, but I think that's the battle between religion, because angels and demons has a lot to do with religion, whereas vampires are traditionally known as being from Satan or being evil.
Antichrist, like
Exactly. So it's like Jesse might look at it like with this holier than thou attitude, like I brought up before, that Cassidy comes from evil because of what he is.
But is Jesse going to sit there now and disregard everything that Cassidy has done?
People do it all the time.
People do it all the time.
People do it all the time.
They do it all the time. But I don't know how it's going to affect their friendship. We already see that it's not going. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see him put the fire extinguisher out. I didn't see him. But we don't know yet.
We don't know.
But I don't know. I don't know.
We don't
So
know.
I don't know. I don't know exactly. We'll have to wait until next week. But Eugene. Now, one of the things I know, Kiyra, you were really happy to find out, and I'm sure you guys are really happy to find out also. What we wanted to find out what happened between Eugene and Tracy. And so Eugene, wow, got rejected and couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and he just totally went on like a murder-suicide mission.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, we laugh about it now, guys, but I mean, it's really relevant in today's society, especially with all these shootings going on. I mean, there are people's mindsets out there that, you know, when they get rejected or they don't get their way, they take it out in this violent way, and it's not okay.
Right.
And look at this poor girl, and look at what happened to him.
And what happened to him? Right.
Yeah.
But okay, so if it was a murder-suicide, then why is he still in high school? Sorry, I'm just wondering. Like, why isn't he in jail?
That's a good question.
Does it have something to do with?
Really good
yeah,
question.
exactly.
It's Annville, Texas.
I'm like, oh, that's a good question.
Does it have to do with the fact that maybe his father? Like,
it could be. It could be that it's his father. It's also a small town. His dad is the sheriff, and also, you know, he bit the bullet, so to speak. And, you know, he was harmed as well. So I don't know. But that's why the town hates him, because there's no consequence for him.
Or maybe he just got away with it. Got away with murder.
Do you think that's why Eugene's mother is like in this catatonic state, because she can't deal with what her son has done?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because Tracy's mom is like homicidal, getting ready to go after him with a bat. She's like Louisville slugging him.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, most definitely.
Now that we know, oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, let's move to Quincannon, or King Cannon. You know what I mean. Quincannon and Victory or Death, because I thought this was really amazing too. Because he's, first of all, I didn't listen to a lot of this because I can't handle those cows and all that slaughter. What is wrong with this man that he has to listen to cows being slaughtered? I don't
really
understand.
want to see his backstory. I mean, we kind of got a little bit in the Jesse's dad flashbacks, a little hint of it. But there must be something wrong with this man that he finds comfort in these slaughter noises.
Right.
What is that?
And it sounds awful. It's horrific, and there's something definitely wrong with
There's
it.
definitely something wrong with him because he took out a room full of people.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now he's going after Jesse's church. So he wants the church. And
Well, because Jesse made a deal.
he did make a deal, but he said if he goes to church, right?
Yes.
And he becomes
that
a
he-
Christian.
But he didn't.
The only reason Jesse said that was because he thought that he would have the power over him.
And it didn't work.
Right. So Jesse had an ace up his sleeve, but it didn't work. So now he's mad.
So he owes him the
because-
church.
Right. So now he owes him the church. I'm sorry, he owes him the
He
church.
does owe him the church. And he's like coming in Gettysburg style.
Yeah, with all those people and
Tanks and...
Yeah, why are you dressed up?
I don't know. What is that? What is that in the South? They recreate, I mean, because there's a lot of that. I remember when I lived in the South, there's a lot of...
I get
There's
that.
a lot of
But
recreating
why are they dressed up?
battles.
Like, he's seen all of you people before. Why are you dressed up as Confederates? Just
Well,
come in a
I-
white beater and some jeans.
No,
it's
he's like...
the cosplay for Anvil.
It probably is a cosplay for Anvil, and it probably goes back into what in the heck happened, because you brought up a good point when you said what happened with Jesse's dad in Kincannon. Could it have possibly been something, did Kincannon have something to do with Jesse's dad's death? Could he have, or could, we don't know.
We don't know.
At this point.
We don't know.
So, all right, well...
I just have to say, though, with that whole army of people coming in, I'm very interested to see in the next episode whether or not all those people have earplugs.
Oh, yeah.
Because Donnie was there.
Donnie was there.
Donnie was there.
Maybe Donnie will be the only one wearing earplugs.
Donnie knows what he can do. So I'm wondering whether or not Donnie has outed Jesse's power to all those people, and if they show up with earplugs.
And
And why do they need a tank anyway? There's like no foliage out there. There's just a tree in a church.
No, because I think the tank,
Just to blow
the
up the church.
bulldozer is going to knock down the church. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to understand a little bit of Tulip's mindset, this episode,
yes, let's
which
talk about
her
Tulip.
story was really, it kind of got to me. It was really sad.
Tulip's story, I'm sorry, I'm just going to
No,
take
go
it
ahead.
for a second. Because Tulip's story really connected with me on a personal level, just because her story is my story, if we're going to get real deep. Because, I was in foster care, and I know what that's like. So when I saw Jesse's dad on the phone with like child services, I was like, this is only gonna go downhill.
Yeah.
And she felt comfortable there, and Jesse obviously didn't understand what his dad was doing. I mean, because kids don't. And that just goes back to why she is the way she is now.
And why she can't let Jesse go. He's family. He's family. She grew up with him, the whole school situation. They've been together all this time. And most of the time, for most kids especially, the church is a safe place. And his dad, even though there's a responsibility, and here comes my, previous life as a social worker coming out, you have to make the call, and you have to do something that makes the child safe, because if they're going home, I get all of that. But at the same time, like, it's the I always think of it like separately, because I'm like, there's the church that's there, there's the people. They're going to make sure that she has, a tuna casserole, and that she's got, somewhere to sleep, and that type of thing. So I thought she was okay.
That's why I was like, well, I'm on the same page with you. I don't understand why he called child services. He saw how her and Jesse were that close. Why didn't he just
they
take
were
her
wrestling
in?
and it was about to get sexual.
Do you think that he saw Tulip as a bad influence on Jesse?
No, he said it. He said, it's because she's an O'Hare.
Yes, you're right.
And nothing about them is good.
Yes.
Right.
And then Jesse used that against her in the future, which I was pissed about.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesse's turning out to be a dick.
He was a real dick in this episode.
Well, the one thing that we see with her, which I was not expecting, I have to say, with Tulip, is her relationship that has grown with Emily. I was not expecting that at all. I
after
thought
she in the last episode went into her house and broke her kid's art thing, and then I was not expecting that at all. I love it.
Even the episode before that, I think she even went into her house and was like, "Don't mess with my man," and like came real strong at her like that. So I definitely didn't see these two.
Well, we have to give it to Emily though, because Emily went outside.
Yeah, she did.
And she was in the car, and I was like, "Oh, Emily got some cojones," because she went out there and was like, "You broke my kid's art thing," and then walked back inside thingy. And then obviously we saw what happens with that. But I love this relationship. I'm excited to see where it goes, because it's like two women who are after the same guy from two different worlds.
Oh my God.
And then Tulip opened up to Emily about what happened with her kid, where she used to have a kid. So I'm excited to see, is Jesse's kid?
Ooh.
I don't
The
know.
only thing is,
I did.
she makes hash browns with vanilla asterisk. I can't.
I thought that was cool.
I would try it.
I would try it.
I think the two of us were like, yeah.
I would have put it in the oven, obviously.
But I have my question is, Jesse basically says at the weird family dinner, he asks
The awkward family dinner, you called it?
The awkward family dinner, Tulip, why are you here? Like, why are you still here? And my question is, do you think at this point, has her intentions changed at this point?
Tulip's intentions?
Tulip's intentions. Do you think, sitting at that awkward family dinner, do you think Tulip's intentions at that point have changed? Do you think her intention, she went in thinking, you know, I'm going to get Jesse back, we're going to go get Carlos, and now she's watching him completely turn into this weird person.
You know what I think? I think a couple of things. I want to hear what you think. One thing that I think is that she left home. She left Annville, and she's been living in LA, Chicago, you know, all these different places. When you come back and your uncle is, you know, drunk on the porch, and you're stepping right back into your life that you were when you were 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, I think there are some things that just kind of pop up within you that I think she's experiencing. And I think that whole thing, I mean, she's sitting in the church like this, and I think part of that is that was her upbringing. She's revisiting that upbringing all over again, and I think it is changing. She wanted to, because remember, she wanted to get in there, get Jesse, and get out. Right. She didn't expect to spend time and get to know people and make a casserole for the church and go get cups. She wasn't expecting to do all of that.
But I mean, Tulip said it herself. I mean, she said, I believe it was to Cassidy, that underneath, no, she said it to Jesse, I'm sorry. Underneath what this facade, she called it, that he's putting on, is a man that did all these things. So she's just waiting for that man to come back.
She is.
So as soon as that man comes back.
And he's on his way.
Right. Right.
Right.
But then there's that little conflict of now he has this power that Tulip doesn't know about, that Cassidy tried to tell her about.
That she feels immune to. Because she's like, that wouldn't work on me.
But I don't think she understood it in that
what
concept.
What it truly is.
Right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But Cassidy tried to explain it to her, and I don't,
Okay, all right. Well, we have saved the best for last, and that is Mr. Jesse himself. Because he has become mean, he is tormented, and my question that we were all talking about when we were viewing is, like, is there a price to pay with power, when you're given power? And clearly there is. I mean, we've seen it in other walks of life, of course, but then, you know, in looking in respect to this show, he is, you know, he's gotten on his high horse, and it is affecting a lot of people. That awkward family dinner that you talked about, he couldn't have been more removed. You know what I mean, from that dinner with everyone. And you were making a great point, Timothy, as you were saying that you can start with Jesse because it just kind of spirals out to his relationship with everybody and how it's affecting everyone.
Yeah, no, it's affecting everybody's his relationship with everybody. It's really beginning to trickle down. And he's always treated, and this is what really set me off, because after Cassidy left, after Tulip left that table, Emily stuck around because she really likes him. And then he pretty much told her to go to hell too.
Yeah, he did. He's done with everybody.
I was like, are you, like, you are literally isolating yourself. But do you think he's isolating himself because he's so guilt-ridden about what he did to Eugene?
I think that's exactly what I was about to say. I think at this
Sorry.
point, no. I agree. Tim and I always seem to. We're like, yes, right on. I think at that point, you know, because he's kind of in this weird stoic state. You know, he's at the kitchen sink, and you could just kind of see, like, he's almost in shock. It's like he's in complete shock. And I think what he's basically doing is he's just pushing everybody away. Because maybe internally he's thinking, well, what if I do it to somebody that I actually love and care about?
Yeah. And I mean, and he did, because I think he did care about Eugene. And, you know, his poor father, you know, Sheriff Root, is looking for him. You know, and he came into the weird family dinner and was looking for him. He's looking for his son. Like, we all know Eugene was always where he was supposed to be, you know, and now he's just missing.
And Emily straight lied.
Yeah, she did. Well, she's in love with him. Of course she's going to lie for him.
But that also shows, like, where, like, on the morality, like, scale.
Thank you.
Like,
well, true.
She lied.
No, I wasn't saying that, like, I'm going to lie for somebody in love. I'm just saying that, like, she's in love with him, so, I mean, she's going to lie.
When he was younger, Jesse also saw his dad die, like, right in front of him.
Yeah.
And his dad specifically said to him, "Cussers don't cry, we fight."
Right.
So, do you think that Jesse's battle with Fior and DeBlanc about keeping this power has to do with what his dad said to him? Like, he's fighting to keep it because his dad's final words were, "We fight."
Oh, that's a good point.
Maybe, but I think he's just a little bit more greedy than that. I think he really felt like quite a loser.
I'm just trying to give him
I know you're trying to give him some credit. That's okay.
I think his ego has basically gotten the best of him at this point.
Because he's a human, and that's what happens.
Well, it is clear that it's gotten really good.
Yes.
I mean, it's very clear that it's gotten really good. Just due to the fact that we had to, you know, kind of recap and review both shows tonight, we're not going to get to talking about the comics this week, but we will next week. So we apologize for that tonight, but we will be back next week and we will talk about the comics then. But so we're going to actually just go over to Kiyra and see if she's got anybody on chat that's saying anything about tonight's episode.
Well, tonight we've got, let's see, we've got Ronell Kumar. Hi, Ronell.
Hi.
An Electric Clock. And
Electric
that's a
Clock,
cool
I like
name.
that.
I know. And then Nara, hopefully I'm totally butchering this poor person's name. Narya
Let me see.
NTNX. And
Naraya.
yeah, well, yes. We know
You, girl. We got you.
We're talking about you. And then I just want to say, you guys were just so active in the comments last week for our on a previous episode that I just want to say hi to Praise, 1800 The Drew, Gabriel Sember, Tyham Kennedy, and Trinidad Clausen. You guys are great. Thank you so much.
You guys, we have really great fans, and we love you guys.
We do, and
really,
also
we really love you
the
guys.
fan group on Facebook is really growing. So make sure that you hop on there and join the fan group. We'll accept you right away, and we can start like posting and just talking about the last episode. We love to talk about it.
Yeah.
Come, please join our congregation.
And if there is anybody out there in the chat right now that does want to talk about the comics, reach out to us. We read the comics.
We do love to talk about
it. We can't do it now because we're short on time, but there was a lot of stuff in these last two episodes about the comics, and I really want to talk about it. So hit us up.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Remember to subscribe to the Stream.tv and to follow us on Twitter and Facebook and various social media. We'll be around all week to talk about Preacher and everything associated with it, so don't be afraid to reach out to us. We will be back next week, we promise. We'll be back next week for episode, will be 8, right? We'll be back for episode 8, and we will see you then. Until then, have a great week, and let the church say,
Amen. Bye, guys.
Bye.